Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, Psyched Out Slick. This is where we're gonna be able to talk about hard topics, mostly political or just cultural events that are happening now that are relevant in today's society. Well, the reason why I'm even starting this YouTube channel to begin with is I have developed this chronic illness where I had to quit my job. Let me fix this. And it's been really challenging to be able to find worth and decide, what do I want to do with my life. I'm fortunate enough to have a husband that supports me. But we were making close to the same salary. So to be taking such a drastic cut in our income over the last year has been insane. But we honestly haven't noticed too much of a difference since I've had more time to do things that we would normally maybe pay for someone else to do or to go out to dinner because we were both just too tired to cook. So I think there is something to be said about a stay-at-home wife or a stay-at-home mom and what they offer people or what they offer to their household in terms of finances. I think it definitely does save people a lot of money. Whereas before, coming from like a family where your worth is how much you make, it's been hard for me to want to change that perspective that I'm not worth just my income. I can offer a lot more. So I started this YouTube channel because my husband and I were talking about how there's a lot of conservatives that haven't always felt comfortable sharing their views because the liberal voices were always a lot louder. And I used to be a liberal. I have voted differently in a lot of different elections, primaries, and major elections. And I think where it comes down to is being open-minded to change your mind, that you aren't stuck to a party just because you feel like it's an ideology that you have to submit to. I think a lot of people think if you're conservative, that means that you're well off, you have a big income, and you just want the tax write-offs. Whereas I think liberals tend to, I think, have really big hearts. Like, I think where they have almost been scammed, and me, myself included, is that they have high moral standards and that what they are doing is, morally acceptable because they're supporting minority groups. And I think that that is important, but I don't think that is what the left stands for. I think the left has started to stand more for control, in our controlling our voices. Anything that goes against their narrative, they want to silence it. And I think we've seen a lot of that with social media platforms and how the government has actually been used to silence a lot of people, normal patriots and normal Americans that are just trying to communicate their points of views on things. I've never seen anything like it in my whole life. I'm 32 years old. Never ever seen anything quite like what we're going through, where Americans can't speak freely. The government being a lot more tyrannical than I've ever seen. And I think that really starts with fear. I think the government tries to implant fear into society to then kind of strategically get us to think the way that they want us to. The thing that comes to my mind is 9/11, right? So I think that through 9/11, there's been a lot more domestic surveillance that we have now just slowly been okay with. And to me, that's like the foot in the door approach. If you guys are familiar with psychology, you might start small with something that people might be able to wrap their head around. Oh, well, we don't want terrorists on the planes, right? So we have to make sure that we protect people's safety, and you have to let us know what's in all your suitcases, and you can't bring certain things. And oh, now that that's okay and we've normalized that, now we're going to start taking pictures of you every time that you fly, so that way we can track the way that your face changes. Like, that's just so weird to me that they can guise something as safety, and that is how we comply. Um, so I'm a little off topic of what the video's title is, but I just kind of wanted to introduce myself a little bit. That basically, I am trying to find an avenue where I can have value, express my point of view, feel like I can be myself. And so I'm hopeful that, I can be able to do that here. So the topic of today's video for me was about, do liberals use abortion as birth control? And this is a very sensitive topic for a lot of people, but especially women. And I think personally, I have my own history with family, friends, personal stuff that I've gone through that has shifted or shaped the way that I look at this topic. And I think a lot of people do. I was actually having a conversation with one of my friends because after Trump won this election, I was like seeing all of these like stories on Instagram of people saying how, oh, you must hate women if you're voting against abortion. And next to that, I would see like one of my closest friends like posting like really hateful things about people that voted for that. And it just struck me so hard that like, does she realize that she's talking to me? Like, I know she knows that I might not always agree with where she leans politically, but just the hatefulness that was next to the post, I had to say something. But it actually struck up a really good conversation. And I think that's important. And that's actually why I wanted to talk about that today on this video, is that we are never going to be able to have someone see our point of view or change their mind or be even open to a different point of view, even if they don't agree, by just shutting people down and silencing them and making them feel terrible for their political beliefs or even religious beliefs. Because a lot of times I think um, this specific topic can be rooted in religion. So let's open up the topic. So from my point of view, I don't think abortion is okay. I think that it becomes a life the second that the sperm meets the egg. Sorry, it's my brain fog. Sometimes I might be a little slow to express my words clearly. But when the sperm meets the egg, they have been able to show like this burst of light that happens. And to me, I relate that back to the Bible, when God said, let there be light, and that's when life was created. And I think that that is also when the soul is started. And why is it okay? I mean, years ago, hundreds of years ago, if we talked about killing our babies, you'd be a barbarian. I mean, it's just wild to me that it's just so accepted that, okay, I don't want this baby, so I'm going to get an abortion and just get rid of it. That just sounds so simplistic to something that is a living being. When I think about um, abortion, I think about not any stage that it happens at, but that 97% of them are unwanted babies. That's ridiculous. So when I ask the question, and it might not just be liberals, right? It could be anybody. It's just the topic of this title. But when I think about that, how could it not be used for birth control, right? I mean, there is personal responsibility that comes with having sex and unprotected sex. And that can result in a baby, that can result in an STD. It can result in a lot of different things. And you are going to have to deal with that. Like, if you have sex and you get HIV or herpes, those things don't just go away. It might be unwanted. I don't think anyone wants HIV or herpes. But at the end of the day, when you can't just get rid of it, right? Like, that's personal responsibility that I'm going to have to deal with for the rest of my life and with the rest of the partners that I have in my future. But why don't we see it the same with pregnancy? Like, why is it something that we can just erase and throw away through abortion and killing the baby? And that's what it is. It's killing the baby. It's not a fetus. Like, when people go to their checkup it's before 24 weeks, when it's like a viable life on its own, you aren't saying, hey, how's my fetus? You're saying, how's the baby? Because that's what it is. It's a baby. And so when we remove the personal responsibility of having to care for that baby that we created, then that's where we're more accepting of abortion. But why is abortion so accepted? Well, we don't want to put more care or emphasis on caring for mothers and their babies, or putting more emphasis on men taking personal responsibility for their part in creating the baby. And I think that that's what needs to be talked about. Those are where the laws should be being changed, isn't about abortion. I mean, why is that even a topic? I really don't get it. If you get it, please, like, if you have a different point of view, again, I'm open to hearing different points of view. Like, I'll get back to the conversation I had with my friend, but why is it that the conversation is about abortion? And then when we really are talking about abortion, 97% of those abortions are just unwanted babies. Then yeah, I would say that that is a form of birth control. That is not a form, I don't know what else to call it. Because there are reasons for abortions, and I do believe in reasons for abortions. I believe in medical reasons for the mom and for the baby. I believe in, and these are controversial. I mean, I'm a Christian. Not all Christians are going to believe how I believe, But I think that, and I don't even know if I really believe this either, and this is why I'm open to changing my mind. Like, I might actually be totally close to the idea of abortion being a thing for any reason. But I was gonna say, like, rape, incest, those types of exclusions, which I think Trump also agrees with. Um, Sorry, but going back to the birth control part, my friend who I was having the conversation with, when I told her, like, hey, look, like, that post, that's offensive. I think it's great that everyone has a right to vote for what they believe in, even if they don't agree with me. We are voting, and that's what's important. But why do we have to demonize people that don't agree with us? And so that's where the conversation started with her. And I could tell she was very upset, and very upset that I voted the way that I did. But she also was able to acknowledge that, she loves and respects me. And I think that's where we were able to meet at the table at, is that we both have mutual love and respect for each other. And so where I wanted her to know is, when I am talking to someone that doesn't agree with me on my political stances, I'm not thinking, wow, that's an evil person, and they just hate women and they don't care about people, and um, or people's rights. Like, that just blows my mind that the left has been brainwashed so much by the media to think that, you know, we just are that, like, it's so black and white. Like, I just hate women and that's why I voted that way. Like, I'm a woman. Why would I vote for something against women? In my mind, I'm voting for women. I'm voting to protect women, because I think that there are a lot of women that are forced into abortions by parents. I think there's a lot of women that are forced into abortions by men. I think there are a lot of people that feel like, I have to have an abortion or I'm not going to have a life. I'm not going to be able to finish my career, my education, finances, all of it, right? Like, there are a lot of reasons that people think, you know what, this might be a solution for me. And that's where I want us to, like, pivot and think, why is this so normalized to think that it's okay to just get rid of a baby because you want to finish your education, or because you feel like you're not going to have a life anymore? Why is that the message that we're sending to women? And when did that start? I'm a millennial, so I think back to Teen Mom. Like, that was on TV all the time, right? And that makes you think about how, oh my God, I don't want to be a young mom dealing with that. Like, oh my God, that's going to take everything away from me and my life and blah, blah, blah. And it's crazy to think that we think that a baby is going to take away our life, when I think that it makes you more of a person. And I'll be upfront, I don't have a baby. I have been struggling to conceive with my husband. Um, and I think that it's hard to have a family. It's hard to have kids. It's hard to financially support them in today's society and to raise them in today's society. But I think we need to do more about changing the messaging that we're giving to women and to men, that they're an amazing part of life. And to rob yourself of that out of fear, I feel terrible about women that do it out of fear. And again, going back to the government controlling us by fear, again, ask your question, why? What are they gaining out of this? Why are they wanting to control birth through birth control? Why are they pushing for abortion rights? Do they want us to procreate? Do they want us to keep having a healthy society with American belief systems? Or do they want to shrink our population? Because then it's easier to control, and we have then a new generation that's raised on a different set of principles that isn't the American dream that we all know and love. Something to think about. Yeah, so when you think about abortion, think about the 97%, because the 1 to 3% are the exceptions. And that can be something that is more nuanced that we talk about, maybe with laws, I don't know, with the exceptions. But to just give up a baby because it's unwanted, that is just so irresponsible and so simple-minded and black and white that I'm just going to get rid of it. No, we got to deal with the problem and put one foot in front of the other. Just like if that unprotected sex or even protected sex ended up in an STD that was uncurable, you would have to deal with that every day. You wouldn't just be able to run away from it and get rid of it. And that's where I think people need to think more, I guess I want to say logically, but I don't want to be mean to anybody. But to me, it's logical to think okay, this is a baby. I'm going to raise my baby and take care of it. And let's say you don't want to have a baby, or let's say you have mental health issues and you don't think you can take care of the baby. There are adoption programs for that. There are other options than just killing an innocent baby that has a right to life. So now going back to my friend, she and I were able to realize that we agree more than we disagree. And that's where I want to emphasize that the people that you think are so different than you politically, they really might not be. But the media and the government, they're going to make you feel like your enemies. But you actually might agree and see eye to eye more than you think you do. For example, the thing that we disagree on is when is a baby considered a baby or life? To me, it's at conception. 6 weeks is when it has a heartbeat. She believes that at 24 weeks, when the baby is viable on its own to live outside the womb, that then there shouldn't be a choice, that then it should go for adoption if they don't want the baby. That abortion shouldn't be an option. But she thinks that before that, it should be up to the mom, and that she believes in pro-choice, and that and it's honorable. Again, I don't want to ever demonize someone for thinking differently than me, because again, she thinks the things that she votes for are going to make the world a better place. Just like I think things that I vote for are going to make the world a better place. I don't think either of us have malicious intent on what we're trying to do when we cast a vote. I think we both have good intentions, and that's where we all need to come together as Americans and realize we all just have good intentions. And how can I see your good intentions? Because when, let's say, someone's voting differently than you about gun rights, and you've had someone that's been impacted by guns, you're going to feel very differently about that. And you might vote against gun laws, but someone else might feel very strongly for gun laws. Are we going to hate each other and demonize each other? Or are we thinking that, hey, the vote that I'm casting is going to make the world a better place? Like someone that's for guns, they're thinking, if the country is an armed militia, then we can always defend and protect ourselves from government or from other crazy people out in the world. And I think that's also important. But then there might be someone that's been directly impacted by gun violence. What are we going to do or say about that? They're voting based on their experience and to make the world a safer place. But I might think like that's taking away people's rights. I think that's a huge right. But do I think that that person has bad intentions? No. But I think that both sides, but I think a lot of the times it's the left, want to demonize the right for their beliefs that, oh, well, we want our guns because I want to be able to kill people. Like, that just sounds so dramatic and crazy, and so black and white. So I think we need to start having these conversations and hearing each other's point of views. Um, if you have a different point of view than me, like please add it in the chat. I'd love to hear it because you might think differently than me, and then we can open up the conversation. But we can't do that if we're afraid to talk. A year or two ago, I might have been terrified to even talk about this to a friend, let alone on a public platform. But I think that I've evolved into believing that more speech is better for the world and that we're never going to become a better place by silencing people. So let's see. So I think I talked a lot about the topic. Just to let you guys know a little bit more about me. Yeah, so I've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia about a year ago. It totally changed my life. I was a very motivated, driven person, made really good money, would say that I had a great life, and I still do. But to feel like what I did for a living was taken away from me, like you never think that you're gonna be in your 30s and you're gonna just you wake up and your life is different. Your health is gone, and that's what happened to me. I'm always in pain. I'm always tired. I have the worst brain fog some days, and it can be really debilitating. And thank God for my husband. He's so supportive. He was encouraging me to start this YouTube channel so that way I could open up conversations that I think are important. And who knows, maybe I will have people that also agree that want to follow my channel. If not, at least it's out there, my views, and who knows where I'll go. Anyways, well, this is a 30-minute video. I can't even believe I made it that long for my first video. So if you do see this, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining. I hope to continue to create more videos, but have more identified topics that we're going to be talking about. I got to figure out how to share my screen. Oh, okay. Now, okay. So I can share my screen. So I'll figure out more how to use this thing and maybe do some commentary on some videos, or show some posts that I find interesting that we can talk about more. Yeah, so thanks for joining Psyched Out Slick. I hope to see you guys again soon.